Yeah, but not everyone is happy the convention is there. So for more on this ongoing legal battle, let's bring in Michael Gottlieb. He's a criminal defense attorney. Thane Rosenbaum is a distinguished professor at Touro University. Thank you both for being here. Protesters, they're looking to demonstrate and with a planned march, and those protesters aren't too happy either. Let's go to this call for here on the full screen. Can we bring that up? It says, after a federal judge ruled on Monday that they can't march through the RNC's security zone, in this ruling, Trump's appointed U.S. District Judge Brett Ludwig saying, in part, quote, the coalition members have the right to march in protest of the RNC. Their right to do so lies at the heart of their First Amendment, but the First Amendment does not allow them to protest or parade in any way they choose. So, Thane, does this ruling infringe on their right to free speech by limiting or where they can protest?
So, John, the First Amendment Supreme Court precedent has been telling us for years that municipalities have rights to limit, restrict speech to what's called time, place, and manner restrictions. The police powers of a state or a city says, look, we're looking for community public safety. We're not saying you can't protest. We're just saying we're going to make sure that your route that you're using doesn't take you into a place that could disrupt or cause danger to the delegates. Back in 1972, people don't remember this, after the 1968 riots in Chicago, the city of Miami Beach, Florida, held both conventions. And they basically set up a podium blocks away from the entrance to the convention center. They even let the protesters spend the night and swim in the pool at night, but they kept them away from the front of the center. And it did not violate their First Amendment rights. They could protest, but they can't protest and hassle the delegates on their way in.
Very interesting. Little flashback in history of when you've got people who are not happy with what's going on inside the convention center and want to protest it, but you just can't get too close when it becomes a safety concern. We're learning that both sides of the argument here have until today to respond as to whether or not they want to move forward with additional litigation. But the coalition to march on the RNC, that's the protest group, they spoke out about yesterday's ruling. Here's that.
Hello everyone, I'm Omar with the Coalition to March on the RNC. We gathered here today in front of the federal courthouse to announce the news that unfortunately the judge has rejected our claim that the city is infringing on our First Amendments. With that said, we don't feel like our lawsuit was given its best shot. This was held off by the city until the very last minute. This is something that could have been avoided. We also had a Trump-appointed lawyer, which we feel didn't really give us the best opportunity to look at our First Amendment rights. And so what we're going to be carrying forward with is with a call into the mayor's office to demand that
All right, calls into the mayor's office, demands. Michael, you think there's a case to have this ruling overturned?
Well, I agree with Judge Ludwig, and I agree with the professor. Time, place, and manner is obviously the correct test. I think the problem here is that the safety zone that the city has set up is 5 blocks away. And really what that does is it excludes the manner in which the protest and the place in which the protest can take place, because you're essentially silencing the protesters. The point of the protest is that their voice be heard to those they're protesting. And when you put them 5 blocks away, I think that's inappropriate. If we look for precedent here, the federal courthouses, for instance, have a setback of 100 to 150 feet as a safety zone. I don't see why we can't have the compromise, use Judge Ludwig's ruling, but say that the city has to be more reasonable in their restrictions and allow the voices to be heard. That would be consistent with the First Amendment.
All right, well, we'll wait to see how it all plays out here. They were going to go to the mayor's office and see what happens next, so maybe there'll be some movement here. Michael Gottlieb, Thane Rosenbaum, thank you so much. We appreciate it.